visual artist. This is Ms. Monroe, your visual art teacher. And today I'm going to show you how to make a cityscape collage. Now, a cityscape is a special type of landscape that focuses on a city. Now, for this project, you are going to need the following things. You will need a piece of paper. It could be any type of paper. Remember, the main idea behind our art lessons is to be resourceful and use what you have in your home. So I have a blank sheet of paper. You're also going to want other types of paper to make our building because it is a collage, which a collage is a type of art. It's a technique where you use various papers, fabrics, different fibers and materials to create an image, to create an artwork. Now, I also have scrapbooking paper, construction paper of various colors. You can use line paper. If you have graph paper, use graph paper. If you have brown paper bags, those also work. If you have newspapers, magazines, newspapers are awesome because they already have this column building type shape structure. So that's the paper you're going to need. You're also going to need a pair of scissors. You are going to need a glue stick or a glue bottle, depending on what you have in your house. You are also going to need at the very end either crayons, chalk, oil pastels. I'm not telling you to go out and buy them. Remember, just always use what you have because we are going to make the background too. If you have watched some of my other videos and you don't have construction paper, an easy way to do that is to just take some regular white paper and color it and then use that. Now, you are also going to need a black and white writing tool. So if you have a marker, use a marker. If you have a gel pen, use a gel pen, crayons, color pencils. Remember, like always, use what you have. Now, the first step to making our cityscape is we have to establish, that means we have to make a ground line. Now, your city in your head could be a floating city in the sky, but guess what? Your building still needs something to perch on, to stand on. So, if you have a ruler, use a ruler. If you don't, find something with a straight edge, like a box or a book. And slide up. I'd slide up about probably the width of a ruler, which is about 1 inch. You don't want to go much more than that. Use what you have. I have a pen. I'm just going to simply hold my ruler in place. It takes both hands and draw a straight line. There you go. I now have a ground line. Now, let me see if I can move this just a little bit so you can see more of a building. Okay, ruler's off to the side. Now, we have our ground line. The next thing we are going to have to do is prep our materials. What I mean is we have to make our strips to make our buildings. So you can do it like so. You can use your scissors. You want various buildings. You want buildings that are wide, buildings that are short, buildings that are tall, because that'll give us variety. That'll make it very interesting and appealing to the eye. All about aesthetic here. And okay, so I have now cut up all my materials. I have a ground line. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to make a dot. I want it to be close to the top and not too close to the top. Pretty much that dot is going to let me know this is pretty much the center of my cityscape. And I'm going to use that as a guiding point because if you've ever looked at a city skyline, the tallest buildings, the skyscrapers, because they're literally so tall they scrape the sky, tend to be towards the center of a city because a city always starts small, it builds up, and it expands. So I'm going to look at my materials. You know, I'm going to pick, let's see. And it doesn't matter because I turn it upside down because I'm using this column to give the appearance that these are windows. And it's got this nice texture. And remember, we are not gluing down. We are just playing around. We always explore and try different things. You want to have your tallest piece in the center, and you want to have, I want to say like 3 to 5 tall buildings spaced out. You don't want them touching. You want to leave some space. And remember, we're not gluing it down because we are experimenting. And maybe I don't like that one right there. Try things out. It's pretty close. You know, I'm just going to keep the 3. So after I pick my 3, remember I said 3 to 5, I am going to now glue them down. And now what we are going to do, this is for space. We are going to overlap with our smaller pieces. What I mean is, you don't want to do it like that. That's like wasting space. You want to choose your next biggest pieces. You don't want to use the same color because we want to create something that is interesting to look at, and that means we have to have a variety. That means we have to have many different colors. We don't want to watch, for example, I put this one next to this one. You just wasted your paper. But if I put this one next to this one, it makes it a little more interesting. Or let's say I even do something a little better and I put a black, ooh, yeah. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to overlap. I want to cover the spaces in between because I want to make it see like these pieces are more close. They're closer to me, and the pieces that we just glued down are farther away. Now, you want these pieces to be shorter than the pieces we first glued down. We want them to be a little different. And if you're finding out that your pieces are still too tall, remember you do have scissors and you can always make them shorter. Okay, so now we have our first layer. We have our taller buildings. They look farther away. We have some shorter buildings in front. Now what we're going to do now is you're going to want to keep on going, keep on overlapping. Remember, you want to get slowly smaller, slowly shorter, always overlapping. You can even start to cover up the buildings behind. You just don't want the same colors to touch. Okay, so boys and girls, students, artists, we have now glued down our collage pieces. But I know something, I made that mark and I did not cover it up. It got pretty close. So what I'm actually going to do is, you know, buildings don't always have a rectangular shape. Sometimes they have really fun, interesting shapes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this little piece of newspaper because the tallest building is newspaper. And I am going to cut out a fun, interesting shape. And then I am going to put it there. There we go. Actually, no, I'm going to cut just a little more. Like, we don't really need that shape, actually, so like a trapezoid. Now my glue is almost out, boys and girls. But I'm not going to freak out. I'm just going to use what I have. And then I'm going to line it up, glue it down, nice and neat. So there you go. There's my buildings. But I'm pretty sure our sky is not white unless it is a blizzard outside. And I don't want want my sky to be a blizzard. So this is when, if you had crayons, colored pencils, or if you're super lucky and you have chalk, I'm using chalk. Remember, you don't have to use chalk, you always use what you have. And I am going to color my sky. Super fast with chalk. You can do it with watercolor, marker. Remember, always just use what you have. I'm making it a blue sky, and I'm going to take 2 fingers. If I didn't like it, I would take a cotton ball. So pretty much I'm just taking 2 fingers, that's all you need. And I'm just making a little circular motions, and it's blending the chalk into the paper. And if I wanted to add some clouds, let's make some. Yeah, maybe it's more like a sunset, nighttime almost happening. That one. Okay, so I have my sky. I have some clouds. Made some fun colors. Maybe you're on an alien planet and your city building, your sky is orange or your sky is green. Point is, you're making it fun, you're making it your own. Once you finish your sky, you now have to add something to your buildings. Now, your buildings have windows. You can use black, and you know what? Windows aren't always rectangles. So you can go like this. You can go little squares like that. You can make a pattern. The point is, you want to add buildings, you want to add windows. Maybe I'm using white instead. White on black always shows up really, really nice. Be creative, make them your own. And there you have it, artists. We have our buildings. You don't really need to add windows to your newspaper strips. They already sort of have this illusion of being windows. Same thing with if you use line paper or scrapbooking paper. It's more just for your own sense of aesthetic. What I'd like you to do is I would like you to take a picture, submit it to your teacher, or just share it with me. I always love seeing everyone's artwork.